Empire is a country that controls other countries, and we are one. The United States has more control in the world than any other country. Is China a superpower? Yes. Is Russia a superpower? Yes. What makes us different? We spend more on our military than the next 10 countries combined. We have 740 some military bases around the world.
Bombs dropping on the nuclear program and destroying them last year didn't help move forward those objectives of deterring the regime. Why do we think that suddenly this is going to do the same thing?
Because the people who weren't deterred are now dead. That's number one.
But this is Iran. Those people are dead, but there are other people. They've got plenty of people, Scott.
I agree with you on that.
Plenty of Ayatollahs.
There's no indication.
7 layers deep on
we are 72 hours into this.
You're making a good case for this.
There's no indication, as we sit here tonight, that there have been any political changes in Iran. So my question is, if bombs dropping a year ago didn't change it, what is the rationale for thinking that bombs dropping today are going to change the actual political dynamics on the ground in Iran?
Well, look, you're asking a broad question about justification and what we intend to do with these guys over the long term. The justification is, A, we had a huge problem with the ballistic missiles, and we did believe that if Israel, according to the Secretary of State, attacked, and they intended to attack, that our bases were going to be targeted. They were not willing to absorb that attack, so we attacked. That is what the Secretary of State has said. You can agree with it, disagree with it, but I think it's pretty obvious that the Iranians are not shy about firing ballistic missiles across the region. I think these butchers deserve to die, not just because of the missiles, not just because of the nuclear program, but for 47 years, Josh, they have waged war against Western civilization, against the United States. Their mantra is death to America. They have killed American soldiers, American personnel. They have maimed people, our people. And so if you want to go back decades or you want to go back 2 weeks, there's plenty of reasons to believe that those people that we kill being gone is good for U.S. national security. That's my view. I'm mourned, by the way, and we should say the loss of the U.S. servicemen, who I think died in a noble cause.
One of our biggest enemies right now is Iran.
Iran, for 47 years, has been chanting death to America, death to Israel too, but you're the big Satan, we're the small Satan. Death to America. They've murdered and maimed thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan with their IEDs. These are roadside bombs. They bombed your embassies. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump, the President of the United States, twice. They've murdered their own people. They massacred so many. And they spread a worldwide web of terror. So this is a regime committed to destroying the United States of America. It's the only country on the planet that says so openly and works tirelessly to achieve that goal.
How many foreign bases does he run?
A chance to see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is. Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act. going back to the purpose. The purpose of this is to destroy that missile capability. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do and have been trying to do for a very long time is build a conventional weapons capability as a shield where they can hide behind. Meaning, there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones, and it can inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions. They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports, they're attacking hotels, they're hitting not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly, they're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military, and that's a weakened Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction. Imagine a year from now, or a year and a half from now, the capabilities they would have to inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics. The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken very seriously as well. So that was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the President said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the Department of War to discuss the progress being made at a tactical level, but it was the right decision and an important decision for the safety and security of the world.
I just want to say I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground and that troops from the United States may be necessary to accomplish objectives that the administration seems to have. But I also am no more clear on what the priorities are going to be of the administration going forward, whether it is destroying the nuclear capacity of Iran or simply the missiles or regime change or stopping terrorist activities. And I think the administration owes it to the American people to have briefings not just for members of Congress but for the American public.
I've used the example because a lot of people can relate to it and it's close to home. Hawaii. Hawaii did not choose and want to be a state. We forced them to be a state at gunpoint. We landed Marines and we had Navy ships and essentially told them, be a state or we're going to come in and occupy you and make you a state anyway. And the Queen at the time of Hawaii said, I will abdicate my rule under protest purely to keep the Americans from killing my people. How many people know that about Hawaii? We just look at it as, oh, it's a beautiful place. We get to go there and have...
Keep God first and the rest will follow.